often what you find in politics is that there are things that are well-intentioned, they have a good heart, and they sound good, but they have issues that have to be addressed. And boy, I tell you what, over the last several months, I have particularly seen that. There are a lot of pieces of legislation that make you want to shout and cheer and hoorah that, wow, I like that, I like that. And then as you begin to dig into it, you find that there are issues that you just didn't notice. And that's a function we want to serve for you with the experience that we have, the legal background that we have, is to help you better understand some of the things that are there that may seem to be good. Now, this bill right here is by my good friends, Senator Janice Bowling and Micah Van Husk, and it would prevent public officials in their official capacity from solemnizing weddings. In Tennessee, to get married, you have to get a marriage license, and certain people, by virtue of that license, are, quote, authorized to marry you. That's sort of the thing that deputizes the person to marry you. I could conduct a marriage tonight right here, but in the absence of a license, it would be meaningless unless somebody has had a license issued naming me as the person who can marry you. So under the law, ministers, spiritual leaders, those having care of souls is the words that's used, and various public officials can solemnize marriages. Now, many public officials are more concerned than ministers about being asked to marry people because they're government officials. And I'm afraid I'll be asked, and if I don't, then I can be sued because I'm not really a pastor with a First Amendment religious issue, maybe, right? And so there's a natural tendency to want to say, well, let's just take these officials out of the list of persons that can solemnize. And let's not have somebody go to them and set them up. I hate to tell you, but there are mean people in the world who will set you up for problems. And they will go to you specifically and say, will you marry me, knowing you won't? And then they run to the newspaper and say, oh, so-and-so is such a mean person, they won't marry me. And then they use that in the campaign against the elected official. So this is a very understandable bill, but what it essentially does is it now only allows ministers to marry people. And some would say, well, that's wonderful. Then everybody that wants to get married is going to go have to find a spiritual leader to get married. Isn't that great? Well, that's what we call the establishment of religion. If the only people that can marry you are religious people and you force everybody to go to a religious person, then you've probably violated the Establishment Clause. So a very well-intentioned bill, one that we would tend to want to be eager to support because we want to keep elected officials, good officials, from being made to look bad unnecessarily, because we want to encourage people to seek the spiritual meaning of marriage, but we run afoul of the Constitution.